this is the meeting, May 4th, of the Dog Park Committee. We thank you people in the audience for coming. And I think we will begin with our presentation to the public and then continue our regular meeting, which probably is not too lively after we've done the presentation. So again, I thank you for coming. Notices did go out to legal abutters. And by legal abutters, I mean people who own property within 500 feet of Lemansky Park. I should introduce my cohorts up here. Starting down here on my right, we have Nicole Vecchio, Howard Bregman, and on this side, we have Elise Bukowski and Jackie Doran, and at the podium, Sarah Beth Libby. And we have a very short slide presentation that I thought might be better than me trying to say everything off the cuff. So I'll go from my notes to the slide presentation and back, and you can laugh at me when I forget where I am. We certainly intend to try and answer questions that you may have, but we would ask if you would save those till after the presentation, mainly because if I stop to answer a question, I probably will forget where I stopped from. Thank you. We're the Auburn Dog Park Committee. The town has been working on the idea of a dog park project for, I guess, well over a year now, if I go back to the very beginnings. Our committee was not involved until after last December, when the selectmen decided that the location they first proposed, which was adjacent to the golf course on Packagug Hill on Upland Street, they decided that that was not going to be the site of a dog park. And so at their request and at their instructions, a 7-person committee was established to find a location and to recommend a location to the Board of Selectmen for a community dog park. Town administrator, the town manager, and town clerk held a random lottery drawing to fill the 7-person committee, and they drew names from 23 residents who submitted letters of interest to them. The only requirement was that each of Auburn's 5 voting precincts had to be represented on the committee. So that's the case. We've got 2 precincts with 2 members, and the rest represent 1 precinct. The committee was given 3 tasks, and this may answer in advance why we will not be able to answer some of your questions. We just were not tasked with doing that, and we do not have the information, and the answers to some of those things will be determined after our job is done. The tasks that we were given was to identify possible sites for a dog park, to conduct cost analysis for a project, and finally, to make a formal recommendation for a site to the Board of Selectmen. And since we are pretty close to the end of those tasks, we wanted to meet with people who will be most immediately affected by this. And I guess the people who will be affected by it are the residents of the area and the owners of dogs who may use the area. What is a dog park? I didn't know very much about dog parks when I came on the committee. And maybe I should say my drawing was a stroke of luck, and you can determine whether it was good luck or bad luck. Anyways, a dog park or a dog recreation area, as they are often called, is an area for dogs to exercise and play off-leash in a controlled environment, a fenced-in environment, under the supervision of their owners. Saying that, if you look at the bottom of the two pictures there, dog parks are for people too. And they are so popular in some areas that in Japan, for example, people who don't own dogs can go to dog parks and rent a dog for the day and play with that dog in the dog park for whatever period of time they rent it for, and then turn the dog over. It would make my life easier if I had an arrangement like that. And I suppose the next question, the obvious one, is why do we need a dog park in Auburn? Well, a dog park, if run successfully, would provide a safe, fenced area to let dogs run, socialize with other dogs, play with other dogs, unleashed legally. Because you know that Auburn has a leash law, and the leash law requires that dogs be leashed or under the immediate control of their owners. Well, that immediate word, I think, gives some people questions. Traveling around town, you will see lots of people walking dogs. Some of them walk them on leash, some people walk them off the leash, some of the dogs walked off leash are very close to their owners and really are under the immediate control. Others kind of wander through other people's yards, leaving behind traces sometimes, and dog owners, some of them are very, very responsible about cleaning up after their dogs, some of them not quite so responsible. A dog park would meet the needs of the current more than 2,300 dog owners in Auburn. I was surprised at the number myself. That's a fairly large number, or I thought it was anyways. The prospect of a dog park would reduce, I won't say eliminate, because it will never be 100% successful, but it certainly will reduce the number of off-leash dogs that currently run loose and infringe on the rights of others, of people who are afraid of dogs or of children, or whatever. It would promote responsible pet ownership by enforcing dog control laws, by enforcing the licensing of dogs. Most of ours are licensed now. There are a certain percentage that aren't. And by making sure that dogs have shots, making for a safer and healthier dog population. A dog park would offer a great outdoor family activity and encourage an active lifestyle, something that I certainly could use more of. Dog park gives people with limited mobility or the elderly the opportunity to allow their dogs to get exercise or to watch other dogs at play. And according to realtors, a dog park would make the Auburn community more attractive to people that are considering relocating in town. And according to some realtors, it's the second most frequently asked question after the quality of schools. Finally, according to veterinarians, well-socialized and well-exercised dogs make better neighbors, bark less, and are in general friendlier. The process that we went through, the dog park selection site process, began with the committee reviewing a list of approximately 25 available parcels within the town. And the parcels, and I will, if someone asks me about this, I'll tell you why later, have to be owned by the town to be considered. This parcel list was revised downward based on Stanton Foundation and committee-selected criteria. And I'll go back to Stanton Foundation again and again in this very short presentation. Stanton Foundation and the Dog Park Committee had selected criteria, for example, the availability of water at a site, parking, shade. The remaining parcels after the list was reduced to about a dozen sites were assigned to individual committee members for on-site visits. The site findings, the benefits, the challenges that each site offered to us were discussed at committee meetings. Committee members also met with the Auburn Town Manager, Auburn Town Engineers, the Animal Control Officer to further consider aspects of the sites remaining under consideration. And after this study, which took us about 4 months, it was determined, based on the criteria and site findings, that Lemansky Park was determined to be the best possible option for a dog park in Auburn. And if you look at the site up above, you can see when I talk about Lemansky, of course I'm not talking about that whole large area, but we are considering the area that is marked in red there, which overlies, and it's about twice the size of the skate park area. This would require that the skate park be removed, and if you see the printing in the upper right-hand corner of the map, the skate park would be moved to that area, and the area nearest the parking lot would be the dog park. Now, there are reasons for this move, and the most obvious is if a kid is healthy enough to go skate parking, he can walk the few hundred yards to reach that skate park, whereas some of the people, we hope, people like me, people that are infirm or have disabilities, will be able to reach the dog park area much more easily. It might overlay a little bit of the parking area. The engineers have assured us that there would be adequate parking remaining. The benefits, advantages of this site when compared with other sites in Auburn. Well, the preliminary site analysis the site meets the Stanton Foundation grant requirements. The site is already maintained by the Auburn DPW, the Parks Division of that. There is available a little in excess of 30,000 square feet, which gives latitude in design specifications. I'm not saying that it would take all of that, but it gives us the opportunity to move things in the park, to adjust things like shading, to adjust dog watering stations. Just the fact that you had that much area makes it an adequate spot. The dog site would be located in a recreational complex, not immediately in a residential area. And that makes a difference. You have an area that already has noise. If you watch the baseball and softball games along Oxford Street in particularly, sometimes they draw large crowds. The redone football soccer field inside the area of the track sometimes draws events that are considerably louder than we believe a dog park would be. There would be, as we see it, minimal disruption to the neighborhood. There would be no significant increase in traffic. Abutters to the site, and there are, I believe, if I remember correctly, 84 legal abutters, which is people who own property within 500 feet of the park, not of the dog park, but of the Lemansky Park area. There is sufficient access road and parking lot, which would reduce the overall total project cost. There would be environmental benefits, the decrease in impervious area, the addition of trees, shrubs, and bushes as a component of landscape design to a dog park. The grade, and this is very vital when you compare it with other sites that we viewed, the grade is level, the levelest grade we could pretty much find. And the topography around the site provides for adequate surface drainage. These two things are important. It makes that area more than any other ADA compliant, American Disabilities Act compliant. People that have various disabilities would be able to reach this area and use it. The area for the dog park has a public safety endorsement from Auburn Police Chief Salukas, and the site itself is endorsed by the Auburn Fur Friends, which is important to note since they have committed to providing 10% of the construction costs and future maintenance assistance on the project. And I guess most importantly, after town meeting the other night, what's this going to cost Auburn? Well, the project is fiscally practical because of the availability of grants called Stanton Foundation grants, financed by Dr. Frank Stanton, who was a longtime president of the CBS broadcasting system, who was active in the development of color TV, and who organized the first presidential TV debates, that's the Nixon-Kennedy debates. Dr. Stanton lived in New York City and in Boston. He died in 2006 in Boston, leaving a considerable fortune, part of which he wanted to be spent on dogs. He was a dog lover. The grants come in three parts. There are design grants which range from $10,000 to $25,000. They're intended to cover 100% of the design costs for a park. The design grant would accompany or would follow Auburn's application, which would be the first actual step of the town applying for these grants. Following the designs, magic. Thank you. You guys are too still. Too still. Move around a little bit.
Dance every once in a while. Somebody's gonna dance. You know.
The design grants would be followed by a construction grant. A construction grant would fund 90% of the park's hard construction costs. And construction grants range from $100,000 to a maximum of $225,000. And the third type of grant, all of these, by the way, are for a single project. Capital improvement grants, which are available at 12, 18, and 24 months after the park opens, and they would buy new equipment, replacement equipment, repairs, and each of these grants would be equal to 5% of the hard construction cost. These grants don't cover routine maintenance, but the remaining upfront costs and maintenance will be taken care of as follows. The nonprofit Fur Friends of Auburn Group has committed to raising the remaining 10% construction cost balance and to participating in annual maintenance. That's a big thing when you're talking about a grant the size that a dog park would take. Those who wish to use the park contemplated that they would pay a small yearly user fee, and a portion of these funds would be allocated directly to park maintenance. And finally, the town already takes in more than $35,000 a year from dog license fees and other fees associated with dog ownership, which go often into the town general fund. And it's important to note regarding the availability of Stanton Foundation Dog Park grants, the Stanton Foundation funds each year 10 dog parks in Massachusetts. And it has already completed 25 dog parks and is working this year on 6 more. This year's grant awarding runs out January 1st, but applications run over from year to year, so that whenever the town applied for a grant, that grant would be considered in the financial, in the year that next follows the submission of the grant. I thought when I read the list of Stanton grants that those grants were the only dog parks in Massachusetts. And I'll just read the list very quickly. There are Stanton dog parks in Agawam, Arlington, Ayer, Barnstable, Bellingham, Billerica, 2 in Boston, Burlington, Chelsea, Chelmsford, Danvers, Fitchburg, Greenfield, Kingston, Ludlow, Mashpee, Medford, Millbury, Natick, New Bedford, Uxbridge, West Bridgewater, West Springfield, and Yarmouth. And I'm not sure whether those are not even counting the 6 that they're doing. So they have their hand in funding 31 dog parks. But if you look online just under dog parks in Massachusetts, you'll see very quickly that there are well over 100 communities in Massachusetts that have dog parks. And I think with that, I'll end the presentation and I'll ask if you have questions. I will say to begin with, this committee's job is pretty much over. We will make a recommendation to selectmen in the next few weeks. After that, so I couldn't answer a question, the regulations for the park and the preliminary design of the park will be done by town administrators and fur friends. And the town wants people interested in dogs to be involved in the decisions that will be made on this. So if you were to ask me, will such and such dogs be allowed? This is a rule that we should have. You may be perfectly right. It may be a very logical rule, but I can't answer it. Yeah, here's my last friend, Sarah Libby, who I didn't initially introduce and who very nicely did my slow story. She says I did. Okay, thank you. But that said, are there any questions about a dog park that this committee could answer? Yes.
Please.
Yeah, and I would say go to the mic because that's the only way television picks you up.
Great. Joe Frescola, Rifle Street, so right behind the park. I'm fine with the dog park where it is. Great that's there versus other places I was thinking. 2 questions. One is where's the cost to relocate the skate park? And that skate park could be in the backyard of my backyard.
The skate park, although it doesn't show there, I wish it showed better, there is a flat area about where the lettering is, but it extends a little further. It is not as big as the present skate park area. It's about maybe 2/3 as big as that area. The cost for that is going to be borne in a large part by the fact that the skate park needs resurfacing this year. The money that would be spent resurfacing the present park will go to the surfacing of the new park.
Because again, I'm not quite sure how close to my backyard it's going to be with where it's at. So
It can't be, from what I've seen, and I've walked them both and looked at them, I don't believe that it can be seen. I think that hill between Rifle Street and Lemansky will block the skating park from sight. I know that it will block the dog park. You can only see, if I stand on my tiptoes, I can see the tips of a couple of houses on Oxford Street, but no more than that. And I've looked from the skate park, and I haven't seen any houses down there. The houses on Rethel Street are far enough back from that site, so it's not going to be visible.
Okay, and is that going to be another vote or something to move the skate park? Or is that just an
The town has talked with the police chief on that because the present skate park is dedicated to a former Auburn patrolman who was killed in the line of duty, and they've talked to the person who was most instrumental in developing that, Norman LaFlash, and shown him the plans for relocating. He was fine with that.
I'd be interested in seeing the exact site.
And I would encourage you to go. You will see that it can go back a little bit. There's an area that needs to be cleaned of brush to widen that area, but most of the area is perfectly flat and clear at present. It goes down to and if I were a good Boy Scout, I would remember the type of tree, but it has one tree on the very end of the skate park area.
One last one, sorry. There is a drainage system over there?
Most of the water from the skate park now drains overland through the gully between the street, the parking area street, and the track. There's a gully there. Some of it drains overland in a gully that runs between the track and the new skate park area. And there is underground drainage that is installed that takes a lot of it from the parking area, and enough of it from the present skating area and track area so that those drain pretty well even after some of the heavy storms that we've been having.
That won't be interrupted.
No.
And through the chair, just to give you one sense of the bigger picture, as Mr. Prouty talked about, we have no decision-making authority. We make a recommendation to the Auburn Board of Selectmen, and we expect that to be occurring in the very near future, hopefully at one of their very upcoming meetings. And once the Board of Selectmen process our recommendation, they, at that point, as I understand it, will be scheduling a public hearing, and again, notifying all abutters, and at that point, having a very similar forum to hear from residents in the community prior to the final vote, as you mentioned. And they, as the elected body, will be voting on the proposed site for the dog park, and adjunct to that, the proposed relocated site for the skate park.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Is there anyone else that would like?
The silence is overwhelming.
I know. We'll have to move to keep these lights on. We thank you again for coming, for your interest in the project. We think, we weren't sure what would happen when we sent those 84 notices out. We didn't know how many people would come. So we're very pleased that you people have. And we hope we are dog lovers. I mean, we could put on this committee because I think we love dogs, although my 13-year-old pug is never going to use a dog park. He can't even get from one end of my backyard to the other. But I've gone to this area and to a lot of the areas that were considered in town as sites for dog parks, and I have seen the number of people that already use them. There are people every day at Lemansky at some portion of it, some of them down at the baseball field, some of them in the big practice field that's behind the playground area and the tennis courts, and some walking around the track. They like that route around the park, but I also see people who have trouble getting down there because you're coming from one hilly area to another. This will give them a chance to utilize an area that will be suitable for them, I believe. Well, we would welcome any other questions. We would welcome if something comes to you and you'd like to write a letter with a question in it. If you just address it to Dog Park Committee Town Hall, Mrs. Jacobson will be sure that we get it, I'm sure, and we would answer it in writing. Otherwise, we'll let you go or we'll let you stay, whichever you'd like. But we do thank you for coming, and we hope that this isn't going to be too much of a nuisance in your areas.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the map and see where their property is and where that.
What did I tell you this morning? What did I tell you?
Because that's like there. They still have to go that way to get out, right?
Yeah. Okay, you guys have
The places they could put.
the meeting agenda.
I was curious
But-
if that were an issue.
We have a sick secretary who believed that her minutes would, and I take the blame for this.
Actually,
didn't
I
let her
accept the
know.
responsibility.
No, you don't either.
I didn't know we
I'll
were
whack
doing
you.
minutes. I didn't bring them.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry.
Yes, yes.
I do promise they exist. It's not like,
Exist and they'll
they
be
do
ready.
exist, you will have them.
Meeting. I'm hopeful, after talking with Julie, that the meeting with the selectmen will come to 22nd. I'm sure it will depend on whoever the new chairman, although we won't know that until the 22nd, but whatever board members say. We'll be on the 22nd. She has asked, I said to her this morning, does that mean we can dissolve right after that? And she said, well, I wish you would just stay on for a little while in case the selectmen have some other chore for you. I said, only if it's a small chore.
Yeah, this is where
So-
it would be.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
there's all the woods in between the homes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at the map. Yeah. There's a ton of woods in between.
that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe let's make it female.
He's Dave Sampson's son.
Do we have other business?
I think, yeah, here's a couple of things.
And he lives in that huge house with a huge yard halfway up Rethel Street, where the hill behind him is at a high. He's not gonna see.
What's next?
Number? Do you know?
Next.
I don't know. Other business.
What's the other business?
Look at how far away.
Whatever you guys.
I don't know. Big Bang Theory's on an 8.
I don't have any
This is what he was
business.
talking about, or this one? Yeah.
Does anyone have?
Do you guys have any other business?
No.
Then I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, third.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn.
Cha-cha!
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, man.
So
we made-
voted.